Welcome to Monroe Mustangs. I'm your host, David Spiegel. With me today, two members representing the Monroe Mustangs baseball team. Please welcome pitching coach Manny Roman and pitcher Vladimir Ceverino.
Hey, David. How are you?
How's it going?
Hey, guys. Thanks for joining me today. I wanted to have you on because, as we talked about last week with softball coach Samantha Santillo, we're looking forward to a spring season starting up in a couple of weeks. You know, after a year after canceling last season, we're finally getting ready to play ball again. Weren't sure this whole time if it was going to happen. So first thing I want to get to is what are your guys' reactions? Manny, we'll start with you. What are your guys' reactions to knowing that the season is really right around the corner and it's actually happening?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. You know, I for a second there, I didn't think this was going to happen, you know, and yesterday when we finally got on the field, it sank in, like, you know, hey, we're ready to go, you know, and it was actually gratifying knowing that the guys, you know, showed up ready to go and you know, we just hit the ground running. So I'm excited.
And Vlad, same question to you. How excited are you for the season?
Yeah, I'm really excited. Like, especially after waiting so long to finally get on the field, it's just a great feeling. And after like putting all the work in these three months that we were home, it's just finally like time to go.
I can imagine. I'm probably not as excited as you guys because you guys, you know, really get to dig in and do it. But I was, you know, I got a little bit of an experience with you guys last year. We had that one home game and then everything shut down. So I know I really missed baseball and softball season last year. So I'm excited to actually, you know, get in the full swing of things. We got a very, very, very deep schedule this year. So squeezing in a lot of games in a short amount of time. I'm very excited for that. But before we get into this coming season, I want to talk about you guys a little bit. You know, just tell our audience a little bit about yourselves. Manny, you've been a coach with Monroe for a while now. You're actually in your second stint as a coach with Monroe, having been here before, left for a little while and came back. So tell our audience, you know, where you came from, how you got into coaching, and then how you eventually landed here at Monroe.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, I came from Puerto Rico, straight out of high school, went to college in Keystone College in Pennsylvania. You know, small D3, played there my 4 years. And probably around my third year there, I already knew, like, you know, I'm not going to be a professional athlete. And I kind of like, you know, I wanted to stay in the game and I wanted to help kids, you know, get to places where I wasn't able to go. So as soon as I got done playing, I was fortunate enough to get into coaching right away at Marywood University, another small D3 in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I did a year there as a volunteer. After that, I went to Lackawanna for 2 years. And my second year there, I ran into our head coach and also athletic director, Luis Melendez, in Puerto Rico on a recruiting trip. And, you know, we got to talking, we hit it off, and he asked me if I wanted to come work for him. And I was like, well, you know, I'm good where I'm at right now. You know, we'll see if anything happens. We'll see where it takes. And then after that season, you know, we kind of went our separate ways at Lackawanna. And, you know, I got on the phone with Lou and, you know, he brought me on as the head JV coach my first year in 2016. Then after that, I went to Raritan Valley Community College in New Jersey, was a head coach there for a year. And after the season was over, Lou called me back and, we came to an agreement and I've been here ever since. And, you know, I mean, I love it here. I can't say anything bad about Monroe and, you know, the kids we get and the stuff that we're able to do.
Yeah, I definitely, you know, just in my time at Monroe, I got here in 2017. So I've been with you guys for a few seasons. And one of the impressive things we see every single year is that we always have some really good pitching, especially when it gets to late in the season, when it's really crunch time and time to, you know, make that big run. Pitching has always been right where it needs to be at the right time. So obviously that's where you're coaching, you know, that's where your forte is. So I know we appreciate all the work you've been doing for the program. And obviously that goes well beyond just coaching the pitchers. So we'll get to that in a little while, but Vlad, let's go to you. What's your story? You know, a lot of athletes, especially some that we talked to recently, have had that JUCO experience where you leave high school, you go play for a different college and, you know, it's maybe not the right fit. So then you take a step back, come to a junior college and find your footing there. So obviously I bring that up because that's kind of where your story is too. So yeah. Let's talk about that. You know, first, you know, where you came from as well, and then we'll get into the college experience.
So I'm just a kid from Brooklyn. Like ever since I was growing up, my brother has always been playing baseball. I fell in love with the game. And like growing up, I would just like play baseball for fun. And you know, every kid is like, oh, I want to play professional baseball. But that's what every kid says. Once I get to high school, I start like improving a lot. Like not much hitting, but pitching. Like my arm was like above average. So once I started getting recruited by D1 schools, that's when I started thinking about it. Like, okay, I can actually make this happen and actually become a professional baseball player if I put my mind into it. So that's where it went off. Then I ended up getting recruited. I ended up getting recruited by St. John's University. I ended up going there for 1 year. Everything's good in the fall. And then one day out of nowhere, I just start feeling crazy back pain in my upper back. And we go to the doctors. We couldn't figure anything out for like a few months. Then I noticed there was like a huge ball on my back. Once I went back to the doctor, seen the MRI, and there was, I believe, scar tissue built up on my back from throwing so much. So fast forward to June that year, I ended up getting surgery and have no school to go to because I talked to the coaches at St. John's and they were like, it's better off if you go on to like a JUCO where you can play every day and we'll reevaluate you and see if you can end up coming back. But at that point, I still didn't know what school to go to. So I contacted Freddie, which was a player from here. And he's like, I could talk to Manny for you. I'm like, who is Manny? He's like, I was a pitching coach from Monroe. And then sent Manny a few videos. He took Freddie's word and he knew I was coming from St. John's. So he's like, let's bring you on here. So that's basically my story, how I ended up at Monroe College.
Of course, for those watching, Freddie Rojas Jr. was on the show here a couple weeks ago. Coming to us, talking to him from his new school down in Rio Grande Valley in Texas. That was a really good episode for those of you who want to go back. But I'll be honest, I didn't know exactly what your story was. So how's that feeling these days? After having surgery, and obviously you're a young guy, so having to go through surgery is probably not something you're very excited about.
Yeah. So when I got surgery, the doctor only told me I just needed to wait like 2 to 3 weeks for my stitches to close and I could start throwing again. But once I came back, the pain was worse than before I got surgery. So I was like, why did I do this? Like, I'm worse now. I don't even think I can play baseball again. So after a month, I was taking like potassium and magnesium pills, or calcium magnesium, I believe. And after a month of taking that, the doctor told me to take, the pain went away and I started throwing. Then came to Monroe, first bullpen at Monroe. I hit 90 for the first time in like a year and a half. And I'm so excited. I couldn't stop smiling the whole day. Like I finally know I could keep playing baseball. So that was a great feeling.
I know you guys had those early season games last year, and we got to watch the live streams again. I didn't get to see much of you guys in person last year, but seeing you throw down there, I wouldn't have even guessed that you had any sort of injury history like that. So again, good to see that everything's healed and you're working your way up and we're ready to go this season. But like last year, you guys obviously didn't get to play a full season. March 10th was the last day that you guys played. It was the home opener. It was an exciting win, a walk-off victory, on our home field in New Rochelle. And then the next day, we already had some games getting canceled. And then the decision was made that the season was over, which was a decision that we had to make at first. And then it was kind of taken out of our hands for the rest of the year anyway, as the entire NJCAA and NCAA and college sports, professional sports around the country just shut down basically all around that same day. So, you really didn't get to even, get your footing, Vlad, last year. You got a very little bit of experience out there. You guys make that early season trip and it's basically one of your first times even getting on the actual field this season. So let's first talk about what the feelings were like when, you had that little bit of experience and then the season just had to come to an end.
Well, when we went down to Texas for the first time, I get my first appearance, pitched 1 inning, I believe, against Alvin.
Yep.
Did good, and then I came back to the second inning, didn't do that well. Then I pitched my first collegiate start against LSU Eunice. I was so sick when we pitched. Like, I believe I had COVID during that time. I'm not sure. I had a fever, but I was like, I'm pitching like this. This is my first collegiate start. I'm not gonna back down from this. And I decided to pitch like that anyways. But it was just, I believe, adrenaline got me through it. I wanted to pitch. First time there, had to get it done.
And Manny, as a coach, we've spoken to a lot of coaches on here, and a lot of them have, different feelings and experiences about that day when we had to shut things down. But, is your job kind of as a mentor and a leader for the student athletes that play for you? What was it like experiencing the shutdown of the season last year?
I mean, it was a blow. I don't think in my 32 years, and I've been playing since I was 3, I never had baseball just taken away. So it's kind of like mixed emotions. Like I didn't really know how to react, but I knew we had to be that support for the guys, because as much work as the coaches put in, as a staff and everything we do, they're the ones that are playing, and they're the ones that sacrifice a lot, and they sweat, they bleed, tears from frustration. So it was like, we had to find a way to just be that support for them and let them know that, everything happens for a reason. This is not something that we wish that would have happened, but, there's things to learn from them and just to make you better, to be able to overcome it, in life, because that's just what it turns into, like if you can get through something like this, I mean, I don't know how much, anything harder that can come thrown at you, So it was just kind of, it was definitely devastating, but at the same time, it like helped me mature to just be that, that support for them, and being able to, talk to them whenever they needed to, and just stay in communication with them. Because I knew, as a coach, it hurt. I can only imagine as a player. So it was just a matter of just being there for them as much as possible.
Yeah, I think, I think I speak for all of us when I say this. I'm hoping that for all of us that are involved in college sports, that I hope this is the hardest time we're ever going to have to go through in our careers, whether it's playing, coaching, or my role as, sports information administration. I really, I hope that, this year goes smoothly and everything going forward goes smoothly, and we never have to experience anything close to this ever again. But going into last year, this team was the 2-time defending Eastern District champions, back-to-back appearances in the JUCO World Series, the first 2 in program history. The goal was set before the season just to get back there again and keep improving and keep making that push until we finally win a championship out there.
Mm-hmm.
And, as we saw our last experience there, a team that came in, wasn't ranked, just won their district, ended up making the run and winning the championship. So that was Central Arizona out there, who we played in our first game. So obviously anything can happen once you're there, and, any given day in baseball, anybody can win. So, well, of course, again, last season we couldn't accomplish that goal because there was no goal there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't possible. So we come into this season once again, coming off back-to-back trips to the JUCO World Series, 2-time defending Eastern District champions. So knowing that that's still how we're looked at and, how this team is perceived, Manny, I'll go to you this one. What are the feelings going into this season? What are the goals set for the team? And, what's the outlook like in general?
Well, the goal is the same one. It's get back to Colorado and just go and compete for a national title. I mean, it's kind of frustrating. I don't believe in rankings and all that, but, we're always the underdog. For some reason, everybody counts the New York team out. They're counting us out once again. So, it's just, we take that as motivation, and we're going to go out there and just take it one day at a time. We have a very, very talented team. I think we're really deep, both offensively and on the mound, that, compared to years past. It's just, overcoming the adversities of, starting in the fall, getting shut down, starting again, getting shut down, then having a long layover, and then just started and only having 2 weeks to get ready. But, I believe that once we get going, like you said, we have a bunch of games in a short period of time. It's going to be good for the hitters. If we can stay healthy, it's going to be a special group. It really is. So I'm really excited to see them play.
Monroe Mustangs is sponsored by the Monroe Mustangs Sideline Store, powered by our apparel partners at BSN Sports. Whether you're looking for t-shirts, hats, jackets, or accessories, the Monroe Mustangs Sideline Store has it all. Gear up with the new Monroe Mustangs logo and make it your own with hundreds of customizable options, including sport-specific designs. For the month of March, you can take 20% off all orders of $80 or more using the promo code MARCH21. That's MARCH21. Visit MonroeCollegeMustangs.com/shop to look your best as you cheer on the Mustangs. And I think one thing that should be noted as well is, like I said, New York, we're always the underdog. You don't really see too many teams out of here that make it to Colorado. For a long time, it just didn't happen. We were one of the first teams in a long time to get out there, that coming from New York, and after, obviously made it 2 years in a row, different trips there. The first time around, we were hosting the Eastern District Championship, at Dutchess Stadium, upstate a little bit. And we were automatically in the district championship tournament. We were hosting the whole thing. So obviously it doesn't make it any easier. You're still bringing in tough opponents, but we went 3-0 there, just ran the table and won the whole thing. The next year we go down to Hartford in Maryland, where they're hosting it. You get 2 teams out of Maryland playing in that tournament, a team from South Carolina, Region 10, and then ourselves, as we won the region to get there again. And once again, it's like the light turns on again for this team when they get to the district championship, because it was lights out. It was never a doubt. Every time, early on in each game, it was this team had it in the bag each time. This year, if I'm not mistaken, I believe since last year was, the plan was Region 10 hosting the district championship. That would mean South Carolina, which means that they'll get their top 2 teams in the tournament. We'll be competing with, our rivals, ASA College, to get to the district championship. And then Region 20 in Maryland, they'll also be competing to get 1 team out there. So not an easy road once again. This time is going to be, if we're trying to three-peat, it's going to be the longest travel, the farthest away from home. So, what's it like knowing that, if we get to the district championship tournament again, that, it's going to be a long way from home in a year where travel is complicated. What's the thought on that? And, how do you guys both feel about, potentially having to go that road to get there again?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I think that we play better away than we do at home for some reason. Even though we hosted in 2018, technically we weren't playing at our home field, so I think we play better away, and especially when, again, everybody's counting us out. It's kind of like, our guys take that and, they go in there with a chip on their shoulder and they know, hey, you don't believe in us, so we're going to show you that we're here for a reason. So, I'm excited. It's always going to be tough out there in the district because, like you said, anything can happen. And now knowing that South Carolina has 2 teams, they're a really good region. But, I think, these guys can get it done. What do you think, Vlad?
Yeah, I think we have a great group of guys this year. And I feel like if we all put our mind to it, that we can get this done, then it should be no problem for us. Especially like with the traveling and staying in different states, like that shouldn't be a problem. We do that every year, especially like in summer ball. You're doing that all year. So it's just, we can get it done. That's what I think.
I know from talking to other coaches and athletes that some of the more exciting parts of playing college sports is the chance to travel, especially when you're going, farther than a couple hours away from your home field. So I'm sure that is exciting for the team, and, it's something that you look forward to. I know when we got the green light for the season, and I spoke to, our AD, head baseball coach Lou Melendez, about, is Colorado an option? Is with all the travel restrictions and how difficult it is that still on the table? And his only response, if I want to keep it clean, is just, oh, we're going. That's the PG version of that one. He's very confident in this team after the last couple of seasons. So I know I'm excited for that. My trip to JUCO with you guys a couple of years ago was probably one of the best professional experiences I've ever had. So, personally, I hope we get there as well, because then I get to go as well. So looking forward to this season. Again, when you talk about other teams in the district, I know we're recording this today on Tuesday, March 2nd. Today's the first day for a lot of play for a lot of teams in Region 20 down in Maryland and West Virginia. And when you look at the South Carolina region, Region 10, they've been on the field for weeks already. They started playing. Some of them were in late January, early February. Some of them have played, 12 games at this point. We're looking at 50 plus games in probably 7-8 weeks right now. Mm-hmm. So, knowing that, we're going to be busy, we're playing a lot of games, and that requires a lot of depth and, you guys have been practicing for months. You practiced a little in the fall, you've been practicing now, and you got on the field finally. What's it like knowing that, you have to really, take this team as deep as possible to get through the season successfully?
Yeah, I mean, it just shows that it doesn't take a handful of guys to get where you want to go, and especially a year like this, we're going to need every single body on that roster to accomplish that goal. And, these guys, they're up for it. They know it, they prepared for it, and they know what needs to be done in order to be able to get through the season. I mean, I think if it was up to them, they'll play every single day. So they'll probably be upset when we have a day off here and there. But it's going to take all of us, the entire team to get it done. And I think they know it and they're ready for it.
And Vlad, knowing that you're one of the pitchers on this team, obviously it's impossible for you to play every single day, but you're going to be needed as often as you can be. So as a pitcher, how do you prepare for such a busy schedule like this?
Well, I just feel like my arm usually feels the best when I'm throwing a lot. So just keep the same routine, throwing as much as possible during the week. And I feel like the key for us will be taking these next 2 weeks as serious as possible before the season starts and just get ready as a team to go against anyone. Because right now we could be a little sloppy because we haven't practiced together in so long, but we take these next 2 weeks serious, we'll be good for the rest of the season. That's how I feel about it.
And of course, you guys start the season on the road a little bit, taking some short trips out to Mercer County and Suffolk County, not too far away, New Jersey, Long Island, out to Lackawanna in Pennsylvania, back to Mercer. I'm looking at the schedule right now. And then finally we open up at home if the schedule remains as it is. Of course, I should stress that it is always very heavily subject to change. We'll open up at home in New Rochelle on March 24th against Hartford Community College. So again, they hosted the last district championship. That's a team that we play every single year. It's always a tough matchup. You could argue that, any team out of region, they're probably one of our biggest rivals as well. So a team we see very often and will multiple times during the season. And then, you go through the season playing a lot of home, a lot of away games, but at the end of the year, you guys do go on a very big run of road games, even a road trip a little bit down south. So just knowing the structure of the season, again, it's a little bit different than what you guys are used to. You're not used to playing in the Northeast to start the year. It's usually somewhere in South Carolina or Florida or Texas, Louisiana. You guys have been doing that the last few years. So just knowing that you're starting off up here and you take that trip late in the season, how does that change the preparation for the team?
I mean, it doesn't change it much. I mean, in years past, we've had that. It's not as long of a trip. It's a little bit shorter, always at the end, right before region tournament. But, what it does change is, with the short period of time to get ready and all that, the way we will attack this season early on is going to be a little bit different. So, pitching, especially, they're going to be on pitch counts, and just kind of get them ready to throw in May, because it's kind of like you're gonna have to take it game by game and case by case and not really just go out there. We're gonna play to win every single game, but at the same time, that health is the most important thing. I couldn't tell you how many guys I've seen in the last couple of weeks from 4-year schools that have been getting hurt and out for a month or even the year because of that, because they're ramping up too quick. So I think, the main focus is going to be, take it a day at a time, make sure that you guys are staying healthy for at least those first 2 weeks, and then we can ramp it up a little bit, and, they should be ready to full go by those trips.
Yeah, I think, that's one of the things that's probably toughest for you as the pitching coach is kind of managing how to get these guys in game, get them enough experience, but also keep them healthy throughout the season. Obviously, it's always been an issue with pitching, especially these days. You see so many pitchers that are, just so impossible for some of them to avoid injuries. So I know we've gotten lucky for the most part the last couple of years with that. So obviously the routine is working so far, but this is a different season. But I want to look back at some of the pitching history we've had in the last couple of years. We had in 2018 for that first district championship run, you had some really solid pitchers, especially right at the top, Francisco Justo and Antonio Frias, who have gone to bigger things as well. Huso, of course, got drafted after that first season with us. The following year, Julie Sosa, Brandon Backman, and that's not to discount any of the guys that were also in the rotation. Just a couple of guys right off the top that were the guys who you'd see when we get to the JUCO World Series, the Game 1, Game 2 starters. So, obviously we have Vlad here. You don't have to hype him up too much. Is the reason he's here, but. Who else is standing out right now as the guys that you think are going to take, leadership roles, either as the starting pitchers or out of the bullpen this season?
We have Jason Diaz out of Long Island. He went to Miami in the fall of 2019, and then he went to the University of Miami, and then he went to Hillsborough in the spring. So, he wanted to stay close to home. So we have him, it's a big arm that we're expecting big things for him. We have Nicholas Ferretic, freshman out of New Jersey. He was originally committed to Rutgers, and for different circumstances he ended up at Monroe. We also got Roman DeRoche out of Long Island. It's the list goes on. I can tell like you said before, you usually were like top heavy, where it was like 1 to 2 or 3 guys that were the mainstays there. This year we're deep. We're deep, so it's exciting, and like I said, that's one of the things I'm looking forward to, is seeing these guys throw and how they perform.
Yeah, and as I mentioned before, I threw a couple names out there, of course, but as we get later in the season, it's always been like the pitchers just ramp it up. I remember my first year with you guys in 2018, and we had Richard Mosker threw a no-hitter, I believe, and he was our number 3 pitcher. He had an incredible performance in the Eastern District Championship tournament as well. So it just goes to show, while as the season progresses, these guys loosen up, they get a little more length out of their arms, that we really see some of the best performances down the stretch. And that's really when the team needs to make the biggest impact. But Vlad, I want to turn to you. Obviously, this has been an untraditional season so far, untraditional last couple of years for you and the team. I know, talking to other athletes, that a lot of them have said that just based on, different protocols, like having a quarantine and basically kind of just sticking to your own team for a long time and trying to stay in your own bubble. What are some of the experiences that you've had so far this season that you would say are unlike other seasons, and how do you think it has affected you guys as a team?
I feel like all of this COVID stuff just had made us mentally stronger, I believe. We had to find ways to get our work done, and the gyms were closed. What I did in my house, we made cement weights. So we filled up buckets with cement and put a bar across. And those were my weights for the summer. I would not leave my house. I'll throw against the net in my backyard and literally lift those weights. So I feel like we just had to improvise, find something to do to make us better, and just keep working.
And what's the motivation for you guys, knowing that, again, you didn't really get to show what you guys were all about last year, and now this is your opportunity. So, what is the motivation for you guys this year?
Motivation is just to prove everyone wrong. People see a team from New York, they always think, oh, the hitting might not be there or the pitching might not be there till it gets warmer. But I feel like we have a great group of guys, and we'll just show everyone what we're about as the season goes on.
What would you say you're most excited about when it comes to this season?
Most excited? Playing a full season for the first time. Hopefully we get it done.
Or anything on that schedule that you're looking forward to? Anything that kind of stands out to you as this is going to be exciting, or I really can't wait to go there, or can't wait to play this team?
I haven't thought about it, but I would say, I don't know. I haven't I grew up in New York and played in PSAL, which is, we play 16 games a year. So for the first time in my life, other than summer ball, I'm playing over 35 games. We're playing 50 something. So just playing so many games at once, that's what I'm excited about. Just keep playing as much as we can.
Manny, so what are some of the things that you're most looking forward to this season?
Just watching them play, man. I'm not gonna lie. It's just I'm looking forward to just being out there with them, enjoying them. It's the little things that sometimes you take for granted when you're just on the go. And I think one of the things that I miss the most other than just baseball, it's just being around the guys, like you don't realize how much that camaraderie and just being in the hotels, on the buses, and just the things that they come up with, that's what makes it fun, and that's what I'm looking for, just spending time with them and being able to just enjoy it.
Now you've coached, many seasons already, and as we've said a million times, this season's going to be unlike any other. Never had to really play or be around players wearing their masks all the time, in the dugout, and having to, compete against other teams that, same thing. We have to follow all these different protocols, handshakes and everything like that is going to be different. So what are some things that you've already noticed are going to be different in terms of, off the field stuff or pre-game, post-game stuff that we should be expecting for this season?
Oh, I mean, it's going to be definitely different, having to adjust to being separated from each other. And sometimes, I'm not good with numbers and names at first. It takes me a while. So like everybody with their face covered is going to be like, hey, who are you? But it's definitely going to be an adjustment. But I feel like once we get on the field, it's just going to become second nature, because you're not really going to be thinking about it, and you just go. So I would say those first 2-3 games, it's going to be like, let's see how we do this, and then I think it's just going to flow.
Do you feel like as a coach, since it's been so long since you've actually gotten to be on the field and have this team playing a real game, do you feel like there's any rust that you have to shake off as well?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think it's just it's going to be getting used to, seeing balls off the bat and just how everything goes. So it's kind of, I feel like that first game, I'm going to have those jitters, like, it's been forever, that we've been on the field. But, like I said, I think once that first pitch gets thrown, I think we'll be back to normal.
I know. I know. I personally can't wait for that. Again, we get such a small taste of it last year. On my end of things, I was able to successfully pull off the first ever home live stream of baseball last year for that first home game. Went pretty well. Obviously we're looking to build off of that, but didn't really get a chance to work on it that year. So, we're looking to do a lot of that this year. For those of you listening at home, we're going to be doing our best to live stream every home game that we can. Get full coverage for every game. So definitely look forward to that. I know a lot of parents are going to have a tough time getting to games, so I'm hoping that they're able to enjoy it as much as they can. We're going to do everything we can to make it look like you're there, except for the potential cold temperatures and inclement weather we may face, is because it's baseball season in New York, so that's what we're used to. But we're running out of time a little bit here today. But any closing thoughts for you guys? Anything that you want to say to people as we get ready for this new season? Vlad, we'll start with you on that one.
Just whoever plays this to be ready for us, because our team is really good this year. Although from what I've seen, we look really good. So just be ready.
And Manny, same question to you there.
I mean, closing thoughts, I would say, everybody stay safe out there. We're going to try to do our best to get through this entire season. We're going to need all the support that we can from everybody, parents, fans. I know a lot of people follow us on social media and all that. So, just hang in there. This is going to be a very exciting team to watch. And, hopefully at the end of the year, we're right there back in Grand Junction making a run for that national title.
You guys definitely ramp it up on social media when it gets close to the season. So can you let everyone know where to follow the baseball team on different social media channels?
Oh, man. You put me on the spot there.
And he has like 8.
Let me see. Let me find them.
It's been a little bit. I know.
I know. It's been a while that I've been on it. Yeah, on Instagram, it's just Monroe Mustangs Baseball. And then on Twitter, it's it's MC_Mustangs Base. All right. If you put Monroe Mustangs Baseball, it comes right up. Just give us a follow. We'll be putting updates, as games are about to start, games end, and always look out for that player of the game at the end. And we can't wait to get that hammer out.
I was gonna say I'm looking forward to seeing the hammer, Vlad. I'm sure you're looking forward to holding it one day soon.
Of course. I got a few this year. I see it.
Let's go. I'm excited to see it, guys. Especially those road games when I get to see those final scores and see how you guys did. I'm really looking forward to that to start the season, and then we finally get that first home game. I will remind everyone, March 16th is that season opener at Mercer County Community College. Where that's always a good matchup, especially early in the season when we get to play them. Again, a close team, so a team we see a lot. And then March 24th, Hartford Community College doubleheader in New Rochelle at Dick Caswell Baseball Field at Flowers Park, also known as City Park in New Rochelle. So get ready for that one, guys. For those who want to see our past episodes of Monroe Mustangs, if you want to look back, see Anthony Rodriguez, Freddie Rojas Jr. We had episode 2 was Francis Santos. Everyone loves Francis, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Look back where it's all in our archives on YouTube, youtube.com/Monroe Mustangs. Also on our Instagram page on our IGTV at Monroe Mustangs. You guys can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find podcasts. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Keep listening. Guys, thank you again so much for joining me today. I am incredibly excited for this season. I know you guys are as well. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you guys are very busy these days. And for those of you at home, stay safe. Keep doing your due diligence so we can get this season going and finish it up this season like these guys deserve. And, again, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging with us this week, and we'll see you next time. Thank you guys again.
Hey, thanks for having us, David.